Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for showing an interest in our little project. Let's get our slides up. Okay, so in the next 10 minutes, we're going to show you how we're tackling the problem of engagement in online teaching. We're doing this by focusing on two things: community building and balancing the relationship between technology and pedagogy, making sure technology doesn't take over. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so please feel free to reach out at any point. We'd love to hear from you. We've got our contact details are up here. Okay, so I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey to see how we went from teaching on Zoom through to GatherTown, which you'll see later on in the mingle as well. So as we all know, and is well established in the literature, the problem with Zoom is it isn't particularly conducive to interaction or collaboration, which leads to reduced engagement. We were forcing the learning experience into the limitations of the available tech, instead of using tech as a simple tool that would serve our pedagogical aims. To resolve this, we sought simple technology solutions that allowed space for more active participation. We then went straight back to good old teaching principles and focused on the elements that trigger engagement. They are motivation and connection. Our result is an online campus in the metaverse, which we'll give you a look at today.
Okay, so we figured that to solve the issue of engagement in online classes, we'd have to understand first what engagement is. So we went back to the books, a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and here we have the four main aspects that are at play to create engagement. Obviously, this applies to online and face-to-face learning. As we all know, the four dimension of engagement is probably something that's well known to all of us here, but very quickly, we measure behavioral engagement with how long and how often student engages with the activity that we are proposing. The cognitive effort is important because that tells us whether the student is taking responsibility for their online journey. So are they asking for extra help, extra homework? Are they doing anything on their own to take responsibility for their own learning? The social dimension has been added recently in the literature, but a couple of years ago, but it's very important. That tells us what type of relationships the students are forming in the classroom within each other and with their teachers. Not just rapport, a little bit more than that. So we go a little bit deeper and we talk about meaningful relationship here. And lastly, the affective aspect is quite important because it's the one that is often confused with entertainment. And we always have to, as teacher, always ask ourselves whether our students are actually engaged by whatever activity, tech or non-tech, we are bringing forward. Whether they actually engage or they just entertained. Are they learning and are they appreciating the learning, or are they just having fun? And with this in mind, we looked at what was stopping engagement, what was hindering engagement in our online classes when we were using platforms like Zoom or Teams. I know they got better now in the last couple of years, but these problems, I feel they're still quite strong, especially group work and monitoring. So breakout rooms are still a bit clunky. They're slow to set up, not very flexible. You need time to move things around. And the issues with monitoring are still there. So it's really hard to move from one group to the other, and it's not as smooth as it is in a face-to-face classroom. Teacher talking time in online classes tend to get a little bit high, and prep time for teachers can stretch as well. So some issues for the teachers as well there. All of this leaves very little room for natural interactions. And so the interaction time is limited to classroom time. Students don't meet before or after class. They don't have any opportunity or very limited opportunities to create friendships or interact in ways that are not related to what they're doing in the classroom and with the teacher present. So at this point, we knew we wanted a tech solution that would support the pedagogy rather than get in the way. And we felt like Teams and Zoom were definitely getting in the way. We understood that engagement is a product of motivation, and that to have motivation, we need a solid learning environment. And so we thought the tech could be that. We wanted to employ technology to create a learning environment and not to interfere with it. So our solution was to create a community which is triggering motivation and engagement. And as you can see here, we have made sure or tried to make sure that all aspects are covered. So our students cannot, for example, they cannot log in and forget about class. They cannot disappear, because in Gather Town, they have to actually move around the space. They have to do things, follow people, go get things, interact with objects, so they can't just take class from the car. Low-tech classes in the metaverse have been something really good for us, because we felt like the pedagogy was freed from technology, and technology was finally enhancing the learning experience rather than getting in the way. And we're very excited to show you. In a second, we'll show you how we brought back monitoring, which made us very, very happy. And finally, our campus is available to our students 24 hours a day. And so they have all the time in the world to hang out without us. And so they can, meet up to do their homework together and all sorts of things. And now we would like to show you a little bit of what happens on campus.
All right, so first of all, we apologize for our atrocious filmmaking skills. We just wanted to grab some recordings from class so we could show you a bit of what it looks like and how the engagement happens. If you look in the center of the screen there, you can see one of our classes. They're sitting around the coffee table before class. We always encourage our students to come early to catch up before class. This bonding moment of social engagement without their teachers means they're warmed up before class and no longer suddenly just appear as a square on the screen, which can be a bit confronting. You can see they all physically had to take themselves into the classroom, and interacting with this tangible space, it facilitates behavioural engagement, but it also adds some of that familiarity of going to class. Now you can see here up at the top, we've got the whiteboards. These are our working stations. These are great, and we use the simplest technology we can. You can much easier to achieve. As Sada said, monitoring is back. This is great. You'll get a chance here to see teacher Sada jumping between the classes. You'll notice this happens seamlessly. This has been really good for us. We can move through the classes really quickly. You'll also notice we have the little speech bubbles, if you can see them there above all of the speakers. Now, this means as the teacher, we can be engaging with the group that we're working at with, but we can also keep an eye on what's going on, so we can we can monitor discreetly. This has been great for us. We think the effective engagement is right up, and we don't kind of just disappear into the room. The clunkiness is kind of solved. Okay, you can now see teacher Sada zooming away on her little go-kart back to the teacher's room. Now, the teacher's room, we tried to make this exactly like a normal teacher's room, nothing special. You can see I'm having a coffee, doing my marking. We're just catching up after class for some venting. You can see here, Sada is sharing, I think, a document or something with me for class. We've found this really, really important. We missed the teacher's room when we all got sent online. So having this little area to interact with our peers was really, really good.
All right. Hope you enjoyed. Oh, sorry, I started it again accidentally. And I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. So instead of take-home points, we thought we'd leave you with take-home questions. There's 3 questions on the screen that they can be quite confronting. We found them very hard, but very useful in our journey from Zoom and Teams to Gather Town. How can how can you free pedagogy from tech in your classes? So just a bit of a warning to keep an eye, to don't let technology take over. We love it. It's shiny, it's new, it's fun, but let's be careful. And I think we're out of time, as I see Sophie appearing on the screen. So very quickly, our references, if you want to have a look at what we've been reading. And thank you.